Greetings and salutations everyone, I'm back. I know it's been a little bit, but I wanted to do a video here that would have kind of like a mix of a few movies that I'm just going to theme this one to be holiday cheese. You know, it's that time of year again for these holiday films, particularly those cheesy ones, which I can't help but put into rotation at least every other year. Some of these movies I want to talk about here are Love Actually, Last Christmas, and some of those Christmas Hallmark movies, particularly the one starring Alicia Witt that I had kind of found myself drawn to for various reasons that stem back a very long way, involves a Hollywood crush. But anyways, I'm not going to go into that too much. But these films target a very specific time of year and with a seemingly very specific purpose, which is to fill us with holiday joy and some cheesiness, because they are cheesy indeed, but that doesn't mean that they can't be enjoyed. So let's start with Love Actually from 2003. For many, this one is already in their rotation. You know, it's a holiday staple for them because it has every single British actor who's ever existed. Or at least it feels that way. You see characters from actors from Harry Potter and Star Wars and Kingsman and Walking Dead and Phineas and Ferb. I mean, you got a lot of stuff, and even Mr. Bean pops up. But throughout this film, the whole focus on it is love and the holidays. And it opens with some lines that mention, for instance, that when the planes hit the Twin Towers, as far as I know, none of the phone calls from the people on board were messages of hate or revenge. They were all messages of love. If you look for it, I've got a sneaky feeling you'll find that love actually is all around. So right at that first scene, it's letting you know what kind of theme this movie's going to be outside of just literally quoting the title there. But that set the tone for the entire film, and throughout we see not just what each of these characters are going through, but how, as we see by the end, most of them are connected in one way or another. It is a holiday movie, and it is cheesy, you know, filled with Christmas and love, and, you know, just enjoy it. It stood the test of time for almost 20 years now. And while I don't watch it every single year, it's a frequent go-to, and I really think it's worth checking out. You can definitely find something to like about it. The next one is much more recent. It's Last Christmas from 2019, and this one seemed to kind of fly under the radar. I can't really figure out why, I mean, except, you know, maybe people getting really serious about the whole Whamageddon thing, where you try to avoid hearing the song Last Christmas by Wham until the last possible moment during the holidays. Maybe they just don't want to lose on that little game of theirs, but the movie features not just that song, but most of the soundtrack are George Michael and Wham songs. So the trailer for this seemed pretty honest in that it was presented as a romantic film, kind of in the realm of like a Hallmark film, but maybe, you know, some more popular actors or a bigger budget, and of course a bigger release being in theaters. You know, we've got Emilia Clarke, Henry Golding, and Emma Thompson, as well as Michelle Yeoh in this. And this story centers around a woman who basically is falling apart. She's working a part-time job at a Christmas shop while going out on auditions, but unfortunately not really getting much work. She's staying out late, drinking too much, and she's dealing with some health issues. That's been, you know, a big issue for her for over a year. On top of that, this is also set around the time of the Brexit vote, which is relevant in this story because of what that vote's kind of doing to her mother and her perception of her situation living in Britain, because in this story, her family is from former Yugoslavia, and this Brexit vote is making her mother feel like she's not really welcome in Britain anymore. So it's interesting that they kind of, you know, toss that in there as well. But the romantic aspect of this is in the form of a character, the one played by Henry Golding. He's just like this random dude that she comes across who works delivering food off of his bike from a restaurant that he works at. They end up spending time together, really connecting, and he pushes, or more like drags her into his way of looking at the world. You know, instead of the head buried in her phone, looking down at the sidewalk, not really being present in the moment, but to actually look up, see what the world is about, finding those little joys and giving back, as, you know, he also kind of is, you know, works as a volunteer at a homeless shelter. Now, while this one lives up to the seemingly Hallmark-inspired tropes of romantic Christmas films in, you know, most senses, they also add some other aspects and twists to it that make it worth checking out. Not just little Brexit stuff that they threw in there, but some other twists along the way that I really didn't see coming and was really interesting and really pulled me in. I actually watched it just a couple days ago for the third time over the years, and it was still very enjoyable, and, you know, really think that people should check it out. It just seems like not a lot of people talk about it. Finally, this is the real cheese, the predictable cheese, the Hallmark stuff. So with their films, I've enjoyed, most of the ones that I've seen. I've basically gotten pulled into them because of my, Hollywood crush on Alicia Witt. I heard that she was in some of these movies, so I started checking them out. Notably the one that I first watched, which is also one that I guess rewatched last night while wrapping presents, was one called A Very Merry Mix-Up. That was my introduction, not just to her films, but really the films in general, because I just thought I wouldn't really enjoy anything from that channel. But yeah, it pulled me in, and I ended up watching other ones like Christmas on Honeysuckle Lane and Christmas List, Christmas Love Song, and so on. These movies are kind of like the mothership of the Christmas cheese, and I love them because, yes, they are very predictable. Even though Very Merry Mix-Up has a nice twist kind of thrown in a little over halfway through, which makes it a little bit more believable. But yeah, and yes, they all have a nice, happy holiday ending. But as long as you know what you're in for and you're in the mood for some of that little cheesiness to have on, you can really be entertained by it. And I feel like sometimes people look at these movies, whether it's, an old staple like Love Actually that everybody talks about every year, that if they haven't seen it, they're just sick of hearing about it. There's the ones that fly under the radar like Last Christmas. And then the Hallmark stuff, a lot of people just avoid it. It's not really their thing. But I really think for all three of those, we got Love Actually, we've got Last Christmas, and the Very Merry Mix-Up, or some of the other Alicia Witt ones, like Christmas on Honeysuckle Lane. Really think that there's actually a lot to enjoy from those, because, although they do all have their pluses and minuses like most cheesy films do, especially the romantic holiday ones, but, there's still a lot to really enjoy, especially around this time of year. So I just figured I would do a little quick video to share a couple of those. And I also have some ideas for some other videos about Christmas movies in general and what's considered a Christmas movie, or which ones do you think of when you think of Christmas related to horror or action or some of that raunchy stuff. But anyways, speaking of enjoying these movies, and I think that you really will, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit of a quick one here. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, maybe comment and converse with some of the others down below. Consider subscribing and hitting that bell so you'll know when I put another video up, and be sure to share this around because it really does help the channel once I get more traffic. But before I go, I do have I have been a bit lax lately, kind of keeping up with, the video or two a week, but I do have another one planned soon. Be another Christmas themed one. I'm hoping to have that one up before Christmas. But yeah, it's not going to be the Christmas cheese stuff like this. It'll be more based on like those rated R ones, those raunchy holiday movies that like to use words like fuck and dick a lot. Those can be very inspiring and heartfelt as well. So anyways, look forward to creating that video and sharing that out to you hopefully in the next couple days. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy holidays.